Hello, everybody. I want to welcome you to the first official episode of Breaking Consciousness. This first episode is about spirituality and religion and how Val and I both got to the place where we are now. Very different paths, however, very similar paths. Both of us were disillusioned by what we were dealing with within our religion. I don't want to go too far into it. I will let Val tell her story and I'm going to tell mine. And we'll meet you back here for a wrap up. Thank you very much for joining us. Here we go.
Yes, well, it takes a lifetime. It takes a whole lot of living to get here. But just to kind of give anybody who's watching this an idea of kind of where we came from, I think Tara will also talk about her Christianity that she would have been to. I certainly was, although I thought more of a fundamentalist, like I was into this fundamentalist cult. And they control you and orchestrate your every move and that kind of thing. I'm going to throw the name out there because it will be familiar to some. Faith Tabernacle Congregation. It's become actually in worldwide news. How strange it is, how difficult of a walk it is, if you will, in their Christian faith. Okay, so it's not a traditional church, like a Methodist or a Presbyterian. It's its own denomination, although they say not denominational. My opinion, non-denomination is a denomination, but it usually represents extremism. And people might not like hearing that, but that's what it is. So we'll be talking a lot more about our faith walk and some of these difficulties that result from errant Christianity. I use that word deliberately because I think it's error, I think it's a mistake, or how some of these teachings come about. But anyway, I was born and raised in that good family and a good little Christian girl. Went to Christian school, did all the right things, so I thought. And then for me, the disintegration began to happen pretty early. And that was, and again, but it was when I lost my baby sister. I was 8 or 9 years old. And that was the first time I saw death. It certainly was the last time, because this church is a faith healing church. So yeah, it got ugly from there. That was the first time I really remembered questioning my faith, questioning what this God was like. How could he take my little sister away from me? She was so beautiful. She was only a day and a half, and she was gone. And there was nobody to talk to about that. We were a group, if you will, that you didn't question, not to question God, that God knew everything, and so if God wanted to take my baby sister, that was God's prerogative. You didn't ask questions about it. So that's kind of my background as far as religious faith. And the other part of that was, and so I'd say honestly, it was around that age that I began to kind of develop just a different understanding. Sometimes I would see things, I would hear things. I had a voice at a very young age that spoke to me, guided me. And it was an audible voice, like I could really hear it, like I would hear you. Speaking to me. And I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And so, of course, I wanted to share it with my parents, which was not pretty cool. They're not thrilled about that. And the more we talked about these things, the more I'm still those demon possessed. And at one point, they were going to think about maybe bringing the test over to going to me and trying to kind of get that out of me. And I remember being so heartbroken over that. I couldn't understand. All I kept thinking was, it was normal for me. Like, I don't understand why this is such a problem. And one day, I saw Jesus standing at the foot of my bed, and I told my mother that, and the look shut me up. There was a look, there was a response, that it was inevitable that any child would have been like, okay, that means no, stop. That means don't go there. You're stepping into a territory that's not right. And you know, when you're a young child, you don't really have a choice. When your parents say so, you know, you don't really get to go, is that a good thing when my parents say it, or is that not a good thing? They're like God to us. So you're like, okay, I'm going to stop this. And so I had to keep pushing. It never left me. I had to keep pushing. So that's the beginning. You know, why don't you share where your early life began?
Absolutely. So for me, it started when I was really, really young. And when I was young, it wasn't something that I recognized. It's like you're just living life. You don't see anything different. I was raised in Baptist church. I lived right next door to the church, so we were always at the church. Wednesday night prayer meeting, Sunday school,
Yeah, Sunday school.
then church, and then if there was a service after church, we was at that service too. It was in the
Yes.
choir. And I remember when I was like 9 years old, feeling a call to do more. So when I was 9, I actually stood in front of the Wednesday night prayer meeting and delivered like a little service. And people were saying, "Oh, she's gonna go places." And I am gonna go places.
Amen.
Right, right. Um, and it felt like it felt like the feeling that I got was the feeling that I was being called to do something. I felt it then. Also, during that time frame, so I'm the youngest of 5 kids. I saw things, I heard things, and the sister that was like right above me utilized me seeing things and how I was afraid of them. The older that I got, I realized that the Bible said that you are not supposed to have these gifts. And I was still young when I was learning that. So I'm not telling anybody. I slept with my mom till I was probably like 12. My mom and my dad were not married. We were together, but they didn't live together. So they were together until I was 20. So anytime my dad wasn't there, I was in the bed with my mom. And I know that sounds funny, but like I was scared of my own shadow. And it's because I was seeing things and I was hearing things and I wasn't able to tell anybody. And when I did start saying it, I'm a scaredy cat. I'm a scaredy cat. I'm a scaredy cat. So my sister, I don't know if anybody remembers the movie Amityville Horror. She used to sing. She used to sing the music, and anytime she wanted to torture me, she knew that was a way to get me. Um, she also knew that, like, if she sang the music to Friday the 13th, and I was still pretty young when that came out, she really would get me with, what was it, Nightmare on Elm Street? Like, just singing the theme songs to those movies. Poltergeist. It just would bring to mind, but I'm seeing these things, like, for real. So, like, you think you're torturing me, but I'm really seeing these, and you're just putting them back in my mind. So much so where when I was 7 or 8 years old in the bed with my mom, I saw, and like my third eye, my eyes were not open, but I could see this lady, and I tell people all the time, this is one of the earliest memories that stick with me. This lady at the foot of my mom's bed, and this is a place where I'm supposed to be safe. Lady at the foot of my mom's bed, and she is pulling my leg, and I can describe what she looked at. She was I would call her an old black lady. I don't know if she was, but she had a scarf on, like a scarf tied the way the old, not tied in the front, but tied in the back, and that's why I attribute it to an old black lady, because growing up, that's what I saw. And she was trying to pull me out of the bed. And do I think she was really trying to pull me out of the bed? I think she was trying to get my attention because I could see her.
Yes.
But as a kid, I am going to reveal, like, as a kid, we lived a two-story house. In the bathroom, the only bathroom was on the second floor, and I would go to the bathroom by myself. That's how strong the fear was.
And you couldn't talk about it.
We couldn't talk
You
about it.
just knew, like, I've got
Yep, and the more I would talk to like my older sister, because we were closer in age, the more she knew she could scare me, right? So it was like ammunition for her, and then for everybody else, it was like I'm just a scaredy cat. So, like I was saying, you start to learn that who do you go to? Because again, especially as you get older and you are going to church, and the church is telling you that this is not something that comes from God, that it's evil. So I started to then shy away from religion. I think like the last time as a teenager that I willingly went to church was probably, and I say teenager, I was probably like 12. And I went because I was being forced to go. But if I had a choice, yeah, devil doesn't sit very well in church. So, so I stopped going.
Tara, did you have to go through like a baptism?
I was baptized at 10.
10,
I think it's
okay.
supposed to be 12, but I think I was baptized at 10.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't make it better. I mean,
No, it doesn't. Were you told that if you did it, you would go to hell?
yeah, yes,
Too. Me too. And I was terrified of water.
I still can't swim.
I cannot either. Neither of us.
I think that I died on the Titanic. I tell people I'm always cold and I can't swim. I tell people all the time. I was like, in my last life, I died on Titanic. I don't know that to be true. I don't know that to be true.
Tara, I didn't really know that you couldn't swim either. It's pretty rare. People are like, "I couldn't." And yet I love water.
It's cool.
I love it. Yeah, but you couldn't swim. Well, so baptism. I mean, what was hard.
It put you underwater, something I feel definitely afraid of. I'm not afraid of the water, but I am afraid of going under. You have no control over that.
No control.
No control.
Pastor, right? Did you have to go down 1 or 3 times?
Oh, I went down once. You ain't get me down again. No.
Girl, I had to go down 3 times. The Father,
Oh
the
no.
Son,
Oh
and the
no.
Holy Spirit.
And we can talk about that because like that's a thorn in.
It's a rough one, isn't it? It's a rough one, and people, and then making judgments.
Well, wait a minute. If the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit are one, why'd you have to go down 3 times for each? Once for each of them. I'm sorry.
I know, I remember. I delayed this for years, and finally I was getting really the look like, she needs to be baptized, or she can't go to heaven. And I just remember, God, I'm so scared of this water, though. Like I'm going to drown. And, nobody comforted. It's like, right? You just got to do it. So I remember having to do it.
But the bad thing about it was I did that of my own free will.
Yeah.
I did because I was like at that time I was into this call to
You
lead.
felt that early.
Lo and behold, did I not know that the call was not in the Christianity space? It was here.
It's bigger than it's
Well,
bigger than that. It's beyond it.
It is.
That's a hard thing to say.
But spirit is beyond a religion.
Yes.
And so that's why I was like, that's why like now I can say, and this is not downing or like telling anybody that's Christian, Baptist, whether they're whatever their Christianity faith may be. We're not saying we're not judging that. We're non-judgmental. Basically, what I'm saying is that I believe that it's bigger than that. The spirit that goes through all of us is bigger than one religion. And I am not going to claim one because I think at the end of the day, everybody wants the same thing from life.
Yes. And we're all equal to that. We're all supposed to be equal on God's side. So why are we trying to box it? Why do we do that? Yeah, absolutely. I feel you. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So, from there, I spent the rest of my life, I say the rest of my life, I'm still here, but I spent a good portion of my life, probably good, let's see, I'm just going to reveal I am 52 years old. So until I was probably in my mid 30s. So from the time I was probably, don't get me, like when I was in high school, I fiddled around and I did spells for people
Yeah.
and not on them, but for them.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I started really feeling good about myself. I was like, this feels good.
Felt powerful, didn't it?
It did.
A power, and it's okay to feel powerful. You know, we get, and again, the message in the church is somehow we're not supposed to have any personal power. It's just appalling to me that that gets knocked down in us. And then, you know, it's like when you have that example you just gave where, you know, felt some power, and it's like, oh, you're getting that power from the devil. What?
Right. And for me, I was helping. I didn't do them with the thought that it would work, but like they did. Like they actually worked. Not supposed to do that, right? And I had an interaction with some friends of mine who, and I believe I told you this, that were playing with a Ouija board, and my hands never touched it because, like, I don't believe in that stuff. Like, I believe in it, and I know that
But you have to respect the power.
absolutely.
And it can be used for good or for.
Yep. And my fingers never touched it, and they didn't know that I felt like specifically any sort of way about it,
Yeah.
but they knew I wouldn't touch it. And apparently, like when they were using the what's it called, the planchette, is that what it is? It spelled out my name, and I got really nerded out. And when I got home that night, like I went to sleep on the couch because like I still at this time, 17 years old, was not sleeping in my bed. I wasn't sleeping with my mom. Yep, but I was on the couch. Opened my eyes and all like it was like a spider plant. I'm looking over here because like I see one that looks similar to it.
Yeah.
And all of them was finished when I went to bed were all like down, and I opened my eyes and they were all pointed up, and I was like, oh, not today, Satan. And, yeah, and so I was like, you know, you do one of these things.
Yeah.
And when I opened my eyes back up again, all the leaves were down. And the next day, I ran to a Catholic church because I felt as though priests had power and they could help me.
Yeah.
No,
Didn't want to, and
Nope.
I think that's so interesting. Why? I mean, to me, when I hear that, to me, it's, I just can't help but feel, you know, the energy of you in your situation.
and you
I
know,
think it calls that.
I never thought about it like that. It just freaked me out,
Well, sure.
especially with everything else I had already dealt with my entire life.
Exactly. Yeah, I think the point is like we're taught to suspect anything that seems a bit out of the ordinary, metaphysical, beyond physical, above physical. We've been taught not to believe evil. And it's not, it's spirit. It's you being able to realize that you can affect matter. You can affect things outside of your own body. So that is intense. But I think it's kind of beautiful. Just because you're scared, like I sometimes think we forget that just because we're afraid, that does not mean something's wrong. Right? That does not mean it's evil. That does not mean it's not God's will for you. I think too much we're looking for this good time religion, if you will, that makes us feel happy all the time. We're not.
Right. And I'm not one to quote Bible verses because I promise you that I will get them all messed up. When I was like again, when I was younger and I was more versed, but in the Bible, it does say that God. And sorry, I again, like I explained in like the initial. I don't use the word God. I use the word spirit. I use the word universe because I don't want it to narrow down to a religion. But the Bible says God gives people gifts of discernment. And I believe that it is because of a lot of things that we'll talk about later that has been removed and taken away from us. We all have the gift. We all have it to different degrees.
I agree. Yes, I agree with that.
And the more you believe, the more you're able to utilize it. But and as we talked about the other day, Jesus said, you know, like he said about if I do these things, you
will do greater. You will even do more.
Yep.
And I was saying to you about that particular scripture. It always struck me, even as a young person, and asking. Then I was told that was being arrogant. You know, I'm like,
He
I
said
just
it.
want to know exactly. Like, why did he say that?
So it's okay for us to listen to some things, but not listen to everything. So like you parse the Bible out for what you want it to mean,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. That's precisely what the church did in Fox today.
And they all do it. So,
Yes.
um, so, you know,
Well, there we are, right? Like a little bit of our background, our start. So it is very Christian, you know, the way we started out, but we've elevated and not more in some arrogant, you know, high way, but neither of us got where we're at without true suffering, without a lot of struggle. You know, it doesn't just get granted to you. Wisdom comes usually from a lot of effort, survival, rising above things, and certainly by the grace of God. That itself, maybe we'll talk about sometime. Grace is a very mysterious energy. You know, it could be almost magical. There is you know.
well, because like getting to this point though, Val, as we've spoken before, is not easy. Coming out to people that you love
Yes. Oh, yes.
is difficult because you get judged, you lose friends. I mean, you might gain, you lose friends, and I say you may gain some, but you lose far more, in my opinion, in my experience, than you gain. Being this person, I'm going to say that I am now, having been, I've been more out, and it sounds so funny because people usually use the word coming out more in the LGBTQ sense,
Yes. Right.
but like there's a coming out
Indeed.
in the metaphysical sense, in the intuitive sense as well. There's that you go through that dark night of the soul where you torture for yourself, and it's a depression that you just like you can't shake. And then when you're trying to do that and trying to come out of the church, it's torture.
Yes, I'm going to say that I have to agree with you on that. I think it is torture. I think it's cruelty. I know that you say how we lost. I lost everything. I lost my family. I come from, Tara's already said how many kids were in her family. 12 kids. And, you know, to this day, it's really, really difficult having good, healthy relationships with siblings, with cousins, with, you know, with lots of relatives. I lost everything at that church when I was only 21 at that time. So yes, it was, and I was shunned like I was a good part of my life. And shunning is one of the cruelest things you can do to another human. It says, not only do I not agree with you, I may love you, they say. You don't feel very good on the other side of that. But I am telling you that you do not belong. You no longer belong. And that is one of the cruelest things that you can do. You know, we call it a fancy term, disenfranchisement. That's one of the words we can use. But to literally get kicked out of your community, yeah, it breaks. It can break you. It's true. And I have been broken over and over. It's still like the phoenix risen up and out, and I know you have as well. And that's really kind of what this is about.
And the relationships changed. And when I say I lost people, I actually removed myself because you almost have to from other people. Some people will use you for your gift. And there's other people, we call them energy vampires, where they just want to be around you because you're so positive,
So delicious.
absolutely.
Thank you for joining our first official Breaking Consciousness episode. There's a lot to be said about being in organized religion and having to negotiate and navigate the waters. There are many different things, and more now than ever, people are leaving organized religion to find what works for them. Spirituality and just connecting with the universe, connecting with spirit, with universal consciousness, is what seems to be driving people. The desire for love, peace, freedom, happiness, whatever it is that drives you. We're here. We're going to be talking about different issues that have come from our experience and the things that drive us to continue to move forward. We will be revealing more about our gifts and the things that we do to keep ourselves afloat in navigating these difficult times. Please like, subscribe, and join us again for the next episode of Breaking Consciousness.